What's good? What's good to everybody in Sports Talk America? It's a live NBA Central exclusive interview. I'm your boy, Jay Franchise, a.k.a. the greatest sports analyst to ever bless the sports waves. I have my co-host with me, who's live from Las Vegas, Big Mike. What's going on, Big Mike?
What's good, everyone? Ready to get this show going on. I am live from the greatest city on earth, the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. So I'm ready to get this started.
All right. So that being said, to everybody out there, I'm about to introduce to everyone a former University of North Carolina All-American, 2000 Slam Dunk champion, and 8-time NBA All-Star, Vince Carter. Vince, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, I'm doing well. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting intro you had there. That was pretty dope. Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was nice.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. Shout out to our introduction guy. You know, he does great things for us. All right, so
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Let's get this started.
All right.
So how old were you when you first started playing basketball? And could you tell us about your first time dunking a basketball?
Well, I was 2, believe it or not, when I first started playing basketball. My uncle, who played briefly in the NBA back in the day, he had a brief stint with the Bulls and a brief stint with the San Antonio Spurs, had me out my grandmother's front yard shooting baskets. And there's a picture somewhere, some member of my family has it, of me making my first basket ever on a 10-foot goal at 2 years old. Believe it or not, but it's a true story.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been playing ever since. But my first dunk was 6th grade. 6th grade, yeah.
Wow,
on the outside courts of 6th grade, you know. The wonderful thing about it was outside courts, double rims, all of that. You know, it's the wonderful thing about Florida. You know, you can play ball pretty much year round. So, but I was at school one day during PE class where, you know, it's one of those things. You know, it starts off where see if you can touch the rim, and then you work your way like a tennis ball, then a volleyball.
Yep.
Like a little rubber ball with something you can palm or get good control, and then I just went from a girls basketball to a regular basketball, and the rest was history.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't start dunking until my senior year, so to hear you saying 6th grade, and I mean that's ridiculous. You'd be dunking on me when you're in middle school and I'm in high school, so that's awesome. So sticking with your childhood, when you were growing up, what players, who did you look up to? Who did you try to emulate your game after?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, Dr. J was number one. Okay, he was my hero. Somebody I looked up to. I was always a Dr. J fan. Now, Michael Jordan is pretty much everyone's number one. Michael Jordan is, you know, a guy that I looked up to as well. I mean, but it was Dr. J, then it was Michael Jordan. Those two guys are I mean, whenever they played, they were pretty much on somebody's TV set in their household, you know, each and every night. So you watch them, and you definitely emulate them as far as just the moves and dunks and the way, you know, they would glide through the air and so on and so forth. And you know, being from Florida, when the Orlando Magic got around and got their franchise, you know, I was a Magic fan, so we got Penny and Shaq at the time, and you know, so it was just a big point guard like that, 6'8", whatever, 6'9", could dribble, jump, do everything. So I just tried to emulate a lot of guys in that had that same type of body type, and trying to incorporate it in my game a little bit. So I was a little all over the place with style.
No doubt. Okay.
No doubt.
All right, cool. So after a stellar high school career and being named a McDonald's All-American, you chose the University of North Carolina. Can you tell us why you chose the University of North Carolina And what was it like playing for the late, great Dean Smith?
Well, it started, I was recruited by a lot of schools. Excuse me. I had the opportunity of a lifetime, to really choose pretty much where I wanted to go to college and play basketball. I come from education, my family, educational background, all teachers. Every member of my family are all teachers. So it was all about the true meaning of student athlete. Yeah, it's great you can play basketball, but they wanted to know what a college had to offer educationally. So I took the visit to a couple of schools, and Carolina just felt right for all aspects. As a young, athlete, you not only do you get the opportunity, not only do you get the chance to be recruited by North Carolina, you get the opportunity to sign there and play there, and with all the rich history that we all know. There it is. We just talked about Michael Jordan. So when you step in that Dean Dome, you look up in the rafters, you see 23, you see 42, which is James Worthing, Brad Daugherty, Phil Ford. You go on and on. It just wows you from the beginning, and then you get the rich history. You're going to learn the game. But one thing about Coach Smith is that he was adamant about us being the student athletes. Don't just fall into the trap of, the dumb athlete, all you can do is hoop. So he really believed in that. He really believed in us. He demanded us to sit in the first 3 rows of the classroom. It's just something that, of course, you're young, you're enjoying your first piece of college life on your own, doing your thing, but it all tended to make sense. Because he never had to worry about guys being ineligible just because of just what was expected of us. And, he was a father figure. Whether you had a father or not, he was very influential in pretty much every player that he's had there. It's funny, if you ask any guy who's played for him, that one thing you will hear them say is he was a father figure to everyone. You know what I'm saying? So, he taught us the game. He taught us how to be men and handle our business. And, the rest is history.
That's awesome. And that's something that it seems like kids kind of forget nowadays, is that education comes first, especially when you're in college. You don't get to come out of high school anymore.
Yeah, it does, because we look at the big picture. Everybody has that goal of making it to the NBA. Everybody's not fortunate enough to, 1, to get an opportunity, 2, to get drafted, 3, to, if you get drafted, to last. It's not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? So we think that, I'm going to make all these millions and whatever, and I'm going to be good. I don't have to worry about it. Well, when that money's not coming in anymore like it used to, what you going to do then? You know what I'm saying? So you got to have the smarts. You got to know how to, to save your money, how to protect your money. It's a difference. It's one thing saving your money. It's another thing protecting your money. And when I say protecting it, not just fall in the trap of, this is my man, or this guy sounds good about what he's talking about, let him invest or watch over my money, because there's a lot of players that we know who are 50 greatest have lost a lot of money, just from people just taking their money. So you just got to be smart about it, and it's a process. You got to learn it. So, I just think that's one thing that, we had classes about that. We had classes on how to talk in the media. We had classes on just different aspects of preparing us, whether some of the guys on our college team chose to go pro or not. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that's what it was.
Yeah, no doubt. You have to be educated.
Okay.
So
real quick. We got a caller that just called in from 301. Go ahead, caller from the 301.
How you doing, Vince, man? Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's well documented that you went back. You took the time to go back to North Carolina and get that degree. And since I'm a coach, exactly 2001, May of 2001, and
May 20th is like it was yesterday.
So that's a great accomplishment. And since I'm a coach of youth basketball, can you just talk about why you decided to do that, number one, and what you plan to do with it after your career?
Well, let me say this. There again, I said my family are all educated, so graduating is very important in our family. If you're gonna do it, see it through. You know what I'm saying? So that was a promise I made to my mother. First off, the night before I left to go off to college, we drove to college from Florida, 8 hours. I had to promise her if I left early from college, from school to go to pro, I'll get my degree. You know what I'm saying? I'll go back to school. So it was something that at the age of 17, I had promised my mom. And, you know, I wanted to see it through. I wanted to make it happen. And it is something I believe in. I mean, like I said, education is very important in our family. And, you know, I was able to fulfill a dream of walking across the stage because there again, I said, athletes, you know, the public eye sometimes they look at it like, oh, athletes don't think about education; they think about sports, and you know, and the sports are very influential in the world today. I get that, but it's when it's all said and done. Like I said, what do you do next? So it just meant a lot to me to be able to graduate at 9:00 that morning and still play in one of the biggest games of my career at the time at 7:00 and still play well. You know, so. For young kids, I just like you have to put your priorities in order. Like I say, the game of basketball is everything because I had a dream to be there, and I had the dream to play in one of the biggest games against some of the best players. But I also had a dream to walk across that stage and get that paper that meant something to me. It may not mean a lot to other people because there were some athletes, there were some anchors, people. I mean, whoever said, "Oh man." You know, it's just a piece of paper. Yeah, but it's a piece of paper that means something to me, which all these other people who had something to say, I guarantee they walked across the stage to get their degree.
Yep.
So why could not? You know what I'm saying?
Right, and they don't understand the big picture. And I think that the kids that watched you do that, they're gonna, and the ones that, you know, emulate you and look up to you, they're gonna realize that what you did is awesome. Putting your education first because that's above all the most important.
Yeah, because like I said, I knew I had the opportunity to still play the game of basketball, but it's nothing like having that degree to fall back on, whether I need it or use it or not. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. I mean, it's important to have that because, like you said, you're not guaranteed. At some point, knock on wood, I could have had an injury and didn't play anymore. Then what? Maybe I wouldn't get the chance to make the hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying, that I was dreaming to make or hoping to make. So, and the other part of your question was what I want to do with it or after. Well, what I really want to do, I want to be an analyst, a broadcaster. I love talking about the game. I love explaining the game. You know, so I think that's what I want to do at the end of the day. I don't know if I want to do studio work or in-game work yet. That's just something I've gotten the opportunity to do a little bit of both, and I love them both. So you never know. I could end up on, you know, anywhere, really. I don't know.
With Shaq. You end up with Shaq.
You never know.
Charles
I mean,
Barkley on inside the NBA.
Yeah, you know, that way, or I can do it for a team. I don't know. That's something I'm passionate about, and so hopefully that's where you see me.
No doubt.
All right.
So after the NBA draft, what was it like adjusting from college to the NBA? Did you
NBA draft? Well,
did it take some time?
Well, I got introduced to the draft. I mean, in a way that. I mean, I was first drafted by Golden State, right. And 5 minutes later I was traded. So I was introduced to the business of basketball, you know, draft night before I played my first game. You see what I'm saying? So it was just interesting. It was like, you know, just how it is. So as far as getting to the court, I knew I had the ability. It's just how fast can you adjust? The NBA game is open. It's open. I mean, it's wide open as opposed to college where teams can pack it in and get into the paint, stand in the paint all they want. The NBA game's a lot faster. Guys are stronger. But I felt like that's what I was built. I was built for the NBA style. Like I can get up and down the floor. It's wide open. If I can beat my man, I knew they didn't have a chance after that. You know what I'm saying? So I was just excited about the opportunity. I just had to learn the game. I was taught how to play the game coming out of college. I was well prepared in that part. It's now just understanding how the NBA game is played and incorporating what I already knew. And of course, I had great help with Charles Oakley, Kevin Willis, Antonio Davis, Doug Christie, D. Brown. Like all of these guys I just named, D. Brown played with Larry Bird. Doug Christie played with Magic Johnson. Charles Oakley played with Michael Jordan. Kevin Willis played with Dominique Wilkins. So they all played with greats. So they were able to prepare me and show me the way, and it was easy.
No doubt.
Okay, awesome. So in the 2000 slam dunk competition, real quick, shout out to one of our fans, Dev Simo. He wanted to ask you this question. So in the 2000 slam dunk competition, you shocked the world with dunks never seen and probably never will be duplicated. So his question is, where did you get the idea to do a reverse 360 windmill dunk?
Well, believe it or not, out of all the dunk, so I had an original routine that I was going to do in the dunk contest, and I got there. I saw all these people, 20,000 plus out there, and I was just on another level, just excited about the opportunity because I studied, watched the dunk contest every Saturday. You know, all the other stuff was great. Sunday, the big game is awesome, but it's nothing like Saturday night 3-point dunk contest. In my mind, the dunk contest was Sunday, was the big thing to me. So I used to just dream about it. Just like when I get that opportunity, you know, I'm gonna show them what I can do, who I am. So I got there, and all these thoughts from years and years past. I get there. I didn't think what I had in store wasn't good enough. So getting the layup line, and I'm just hype. And the first dunk, the reverse 360, I had practiced before, and I was barely making it. And I scrapped that a long time ago. Just didn't think it wasn't good enough. It wasn't going to get it done. If I'm barely making dunks, man, that's not it. That's not it. But that night I got out there, and man, I just saw those people and just the buzz in the air, and you know, I'm like, this is it, man. So I felt like I went from Mario to Super Mario, and I just powered up. No, I mean, it's just the truth, and I like the energy and just the adrenaline inside, man. I that's why I was so excited and shocked. I mean, after I dunked the ball, you could see I jumped like 2 more times. I probably could have done another dunk right off of the bounce because I was just so excited. Right. So I had tried it before. It just wasn't good enough. Now, all the other dunks I hadn't done before.
With the dunk contest, that's the biggest stage to showcase your ability to dunk. So all those people watching you, you know, you just get a little bit of extra bounce. You just got a little bit of extra bounce, and you knew you could complete that dunk.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was it like playing with your cousin Tracy McGrady, and later playing against him?
Well, the cool thing, the cool thing about it is prior to that, Tracy and I had just found out we were cousins. My junior year of college.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my junior year. So the year he was coming out, we had just found out that day. So he had already announced, because he was at Mount Zion, which is right there in North Carolina. He was at Mount Zion. He's coming out. He's working out, getting ready for the draft, trying to play pickup. So he comes over to Chapel Hill to play pickup with us. He walks in, so on and so forth. Now, he walks in and he's like, he's looking for somewhere to put his stuff. Can I put my stuff? So I said, yeah, you can use my locker, cool, whatever. Now, mind you, Tracy and I, when we were growing up, I'm a little older than him. I played on the older AAU, Florida AAU team. T-Mac played on the younger team when we were growing up. You know what I'm saying? So through all this time, we never knew we were cousins. None of this. So I used to watch him play. He used to watch me play, whatever. We'd get older, so on and so forth. It's like, oh, yeah, that's the kid, blah, blah, blah. So, we're working out. We playing on a Wednesday, Thursday. On Friday, it was just weird. I mean, he was like, yeah, man, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to a family reunion, so I'm going to miss out. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't go to very many family reunions because there again, this was the summertime, so I'm there. I was always going to summer school. There again, I come from my family's all teachers, so, education first. So I was back in Chapel Hill doing, summer school and playing or whatever, so I couldn't make the family reunion. He happens to sit with my grandmother. He's sitting at the table with my grandmother, they're just talking, and he tells them, oh, yeah, I'm going to the NBA. I was in North Carolina. I went to high school in Mount Zion. She's like, oh, my grandson is in college in North Carolina. He's like, oh, who? And that's when we found out right there. She's like, Vince. So I get a phone call, this dude yelling on my grandmother's phone, like, what's up, cuz? I'm like, man, who is this? He's like, yo, this is Tracy. I was like, Tracy? He's like, man, Tracy, yo, I was like, what? He's like, yo, we cousins, blah, blah, blah. Go through the whole season. The next year he calls me. He's like, man, they're going to draft you, man. They're going to draft you. I'm telling you, we're going to play together. We're going to draft him. I'm like, all right, whatever. He's already had a year of the business. I'm still, I'm still wet behind the ears. Well, how about this draft night? I get drafted by Golden State, and I was like, oh man, I guess he was wrong. Okay, whatever, it happens. And then 5 minutes later, I get traded. I can get a call from him again. I told you. So it was just a cool story. I mean, it's like playing with your brother, man. You just going through, all your ups and downs, learning. You fulfill the dream, but you kind of learn your way through it with your family. So we were close and we argued and we just made each other better all at the same time. So it was pretty cool, man.
Man, that's pretty cool. So in the Olympics in 2000, you had a dunk over Francis Frederick Weiss that shocked everybody. I think you two probably had like over 100 million hits on it. What was going through your mind as you did that dunk? Because I'm gonna be honest, when I saw it, I couldn't even believe it. Like I had to I just couldn't believe it. I was just in a whole other planet when I saw it. But go ahead.
So this is the truth now. I didn't know I jumped over Frederick Weiss until after the game.
Wow.
That's a true story. Because I mean, like I say, it was the motor, like when it happened, I got the steal, take the 2 dribbles, and go up. The only thing I remember the left hand touching him on the shoulder or whatever. And after that, my focus wasn't on him anymore. So in my mind, subconsciously, I'm thinking maybe he moved, he fell down, I don't know. I never in my mind thought I jumped over him. Here's why. Well, I knew I was trying to hurry up and get in the air before the rest of the team, their team, the defensive team, got back down the court. You know what I'm saying? So I just 1-2, and I'm looking at the rim, and I just go. I didn't think about how far I took off. So in my mind, I'm up here thinking about, oh man, I jumped too far. I might not make it. I'm thinking I'm short, so I'm going to fall short and, make the Sprite commercial. The Sprite commercial where you come up and hit the front of the rim real short. I'm thinking I'm about to make one of these on the international stage. Exactly. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm thinking I'm short. So that's why my focus is not on Buddy standing there trying to take a charge. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about, oh, man. So if you go back, if you ever look at the dunk again, it's going to kind of make a little more sense. You'll see how I see it, not how you've always looked at it, okay? Because I'm thinking, once I guess now I can say once I cleared them, but once I cleared them, you can see that I lean to reach for the rim to dunk the ball. You know what I'm saying? But I did that because I didn't think I was going to make it. Now, normally you dunk a basketball, your hand touches the rim, the middle of your hand touches the rim. Well, I get it with my wrist or whatever because I'm leaning thinking I'm not going to make it. In retrospect, I made it. You know what I'm saying? I had enough distance. So once I land, the celebration is from the fact that I knew I jumped too far. I didn't think I was going to make it, and I made it. That's what I'm excited about. So I'm celebrating. The fist pump and everything is all a celebration that, man, I just jumped way too far, and I was, like, surprised and excited that I made it. KG is now witness, and the rest of the world, of course, is witnessing me jump over this man, which I didn't know. Nobody said nothing. Like, from the rest of the play on, the timeouts, whatever, nobody says nothing. They just sitting at me, looking at me, shaking their head like, man, boy, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm just like, all right, man, what's everybody? I'm like, I knew I jumped a long way, so that's why I'm excited from the fact that I knew I jumped entirely too far out, and that's what happened. And then after the game, one of the guys, homeboys, had it on video on their home, like their little handheld, and that's when I actually knew. That's when I actually found out I jumped over this gentleman in a basketball game. In a restaurant, I would never sit here and say, yeah, man, I'm going to jump over this man tonight. Like, never, because that's not something I would think of. Like, never, ever. And so I watched it 7 times in a row before I actually sunk in that I actually did it. That's the truth.
No doubt.
Wow.
No doubt. So we've got a few more questions, and I know we're running short on time, so we got to make things a little quick. This is another fan question, my boy Noah. With Kobe announcing his retirement after the season, Was there ever a cool moment that you two shared, a cool game, some competitiveness, anything?
I mean, always, backstory, Kobe and I played on the same AAU team in Jersey with Tim Thomas.
Oh, wow.
So we were cool, when we were coming up. I'd known him for a long time. We all played together briefly on the AAU team in New Jersey for Patterson Catholic, New Jersey. So I've known Kobe for a while. So we've had battles, funny times, so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's hard to pick one because of, we played against each other so many years, but, it was just, I think the coolest moment than anything is now, when we're older, we're near the end, and it's he was like, yeah, let's go at it one more time, before it's all over. So, I think that's the coolest moment. I mean, of course, he was accomplishing a lot of great things as young guys, and we were going at it. I mean, I've had great battles with him, in our career. So, I mean, it's hard to really pick one.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. So, that's very interesting. So, you have been in the league since 1998. You're a veteran, well-respected in the league. But I would like to know, what contributes to your ability to play night in and night out in a rigorous NBA schedule?
Well, routine. At this point, when you play this long, it becomes a part of you. It's routine. It's what you know. But it takes a lot. It's a lot that goes into it than just playing. You got to get your rest. Like I said, every athlete, when you're young, you can go all night. You can hang out. You can do all this. Wake up the next day and be like, yo, let's do it. Like when you get older, it's more preparation. You value your rest and your sleep a little more. I think every old guy in the league right now will say the same. And you just have to take care of your body, man. It's for me. For me to compete at this level still, I have to do a lot more than the average young guy, or when I was young. When you're younger, you're good. You require lifting or whatever, and whatever, you go get your shots up and you're good. Now I have to lift, stretch, still get my shots up, get in the cold tub, ice, drink my water. It's a checklist to be able to survive and play at the level still, but I do it because I still love to play, man. I still love to compete, and when you still love it, you don't mind the bumps and bruises. You don't mind feeling 10 years older than you really are, at night and in the morning, because it's just the love of the game still.
No doubt. So who are your four top players in the NBA? Who's on your NBA now left for?
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, I know people sitting like, well, let's hear it, but I try to stand clear of it because, I mean, you said four. That's impossible.
Yep.
In my opinion.
I know.
In my opinion, it's impossible because it's what you're looking for. But, you can go off of favorites. I mean, I'm going to tell you, and there's a lot of people who probably won't agree, but I mean, like I said, Dr. J is one of my heroes. I think he accomplished as much or more than a lot of the great players today that we hear, probably more than him. So, and I know Michael Jordan's on there, and then to fill up the other two spots, man, can't do it. I can't do it.
No doubt. It's tough. And I can't pick current players. It's
right. That's not how it's supposed to go.
Right. And the only reason that we ask that question is because it's what the fans want to know. It's all opinion-based, and they hear from it.
And that's why I said that.
Right.
That's why I said that, because I know they expect, you got to pick Kobe, you got to pick LeBron, you got to pick Jordan, you got to pick whoever. When you're in it, you can't pick guys that's in it.
Right.
I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that. Now, next year, Kobe could possibly go on there. It's possible.
No doubt.
Very possible. It's very possible.
Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. So, what advice do you give young athletes who aspire to play in the NBA?
Well, I mean, I could go all over the spectrum with this, but I'm gonna try to keep it simple as possible. First off, value your opportunity. All right, you make it a dream. You work your butt off to get there, but you have to understand nobody can tell you till you get here. It's a business, you know. And once you get in, that's cool. But the hardest part is staying around. The average tenure for an NBA player is like 4.5 years. I mean, I don't know the exact. I know it's four something, like 4 to 4.5 years. So if you're trying to beat the odds, you have to learn how to stay there. You know what I'm saying? You have to remain hungry. You know, that's the biggest thing. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna get to the NBA. I'm gonna do this, do that. But you got to remember, in your mind, it sounds good until you actually see these guys up close and live and personal. It's a different beast. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be willing to put the work in, because it's easy for us to think that we're that guy, but when your first couple of years, there's a lot of guys who are stars now who didn't get the opportunity in the beginning. You see what I'm saying? They didn't really get the chance to shine like in their mind or the way they dreamt it to be. You know what I'm saying? It's a process, and you have to go through the process. You have to go through the process. It's going to be the ups and downs. It's how do you bounce back and persevere when you're at your lowest. That's what I tell kids. Like, you have to learn how to handle that. That's the hardest part, because you can be so low to where you can play yourself or talk yourself or disrespect yourself out of the league, where the team doesn't want to deal with you because you're not coachable anymore. That's the biggest thing you don't want on your back. You don't ever want a coach or an organization or a GM or an owner to say, yo, this guy's talented, but he's not coachable. Bro, that's the worst thing ever. And I think young kids tend to forget that sometimes.
No doubt, no doubt. Our last question for you. Tell us about we know you're a great person, NBA legend, and you've done everything for the community. Tell us about what you do, volunteer work and philanthropy.
Oh, man, well, you know, the one thing I just try to do is just try to help people. I sat on a panel a couple of days ago here in Memphis at the Grizz Prep with the great Spencer Haywood, and we were just talking to the youth about finding your niche, finding your path, and understanding how to succeed in it. I mean, pretty much like what we just talked about a second ago. And, you know, I have my own, this is a shameless plug, but I have my own Embassy of Hope Foundation where, you know, we try to teach kids to believe in their dreams. It's one thing to believe in your dream, but it's another thing to actually know how to achieve your dream. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we all sit here and say, oh, I want to be a professional player, but that kid may not know how to achieve it or may go about it the wrong way. You know, we all want the instant success. You know what I'm saying? But we're not willing to go through the process to get it because you appreciate it more. And then when you get, like there again, you get it, you know how to keep it. You know, we all want to go through A, B, C and skip to elemental P to get to Z. You feel me? So it's just like you have to understand the process. You have to be willing to go through the process because now you appreciate it and you know how to keep what's yours. So I just say, you know, that's one of the things we believe in and I've always believed in, and that's what's helped me still be able to do it and be the person I am today just because I value and understood the process.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right, Vince. So with that being said, I mean, Vince, do you have any shout-outs, anything, any last comments that you'd like to say for our viewers? You know, how'd you feel about this interview, everything like that?
Well, first off, I mean, I appreciate you guys having me on. You know, I enjoyed, you know, just talking about history and where I've been and what I've seen and accomplished and just talking about the game and maybe just inspire just not even youth, just athletes and people in general, you know, just to want to do better and want to do for others and help, try to help the youth. You know, we always say, oh, man, you guys are famous. You the ones can reach out to youth. But it's like anybody can do it. It's not about money. It's about your time and what you're willing to do. So I'm very appreciative of every opportunity and being on here. I think, you know, it was just great to take a trip down memory lane through high school and college and in the pro and Olympics because, you know, a lot of people hear the stories, but you never get to hear it from the horse's mouth. So, you know, it's a cool interview. I appreciate you guys having me on.
And that's why we love having you on.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Mike, do you have anything to say real quick?
Yes, sir. Shout out to Quentin from Canada. Vince is you're his favorite player of all time. Tyler, happy birthday, bro. Another one of your fans. Shout out to Vince for coming on. like I said before, we appreciate you coming on, and you said it perfectly. We brought you on here and asked you to come on here so that you could get it from the horse's mouth, so that you could inspire all of our listeners, whether they're grown men or young men. So we appreciate you coming on here.
Hey, guys, keep doing what you're doing, man. Good stuff.
All right. Hey, man, with that being said, guys, Vince, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate you. Continue your great work, not only on the court but off the court. And like I said before, you're probably one of the best players that I've probably had the opportunity of seeing outside of Mike and Kobe. But with that being said, guys, for my boy Mike, for Vince Carter, it's your boy Jay Franchise with Nothing But Sports Central. Exclusive interview. Signing off. Peace.